guys? Welcome back to another video. Teltix here, and sorry for not uploading in a while, but I'm back, and I'm going to be reacting to 7 trades that ruined NBA players' careers. So, before I get started, I'm sorry that I didn't upload in a while, but I'm back, so smash that like button. I know this doesn't sound like a lot, but let's get a whole hand of likes, because that would mean so much. And also smash that subscribe button. So I know I usually do reaction videos. I usually do NBA quiz videos, but now I'm going to start doing reaction videos. So I'm going to be like reacting to NBA quizzes, or like reacting to, I don't know, like these types of videos. So without further ado, let's get started.
There's instances in the NBA where a trade can turn a player's entire career around and turn them into a superstar like we saw with James Harden. But with that, there's also times where a trade can do the opposite. Every once in a while there's a case of a great NBA player that's been extremely successful with one team, but they either get unhappy with the team, think they deserve more money, or the team just decides to go in another direction. So the player gets traded, and after that they just can't find the same success ever again. Sometimes it might just be better to stay with the team you're successful on, but these 7 players had to learn that the hard way. So let's take a look at who we got on this list. It's in no order, starting with number 7, Luol Deng. Luol Deng started his NBA career on the Chicago Bulls, and that's where he grew and developed with them to become an all-star player. He was a great scorer and one of the league's elite defenders on a Bulls team that at times looked like they had a real chance at a championship. Deng was one of Chicago's top guys, and he earned that spot. He had 6 seasons there, averaging over 15 points and 5 rebounds a game, and he was always the guy that was put on LeBron in the playoffs. He was an All-Star in 2012 and 13, and then in 2014, before getting traded, he was averaging a career-high 19 points a game when the Bulls traded him for Andrew Bynum and future picks. And since then, Luol's never been the same player. He was an average player for the rest of the season on the Cavs, even though he was just 29 years old, and he stayed average for the next 2 seasons on the Heat. He was still good, but nowhere near his all-star level from just a couple years earlier. And now, as we know, he's been on the Lakers, where in the 2016 and 17 season, he only averaged 7 points a game, and didn't play a single game for them this past season. No, wait, I take that back, he played 1 game.
Before he goes to the next player, how do you go from 19 points a game to like 5 seasons later only playing 1 game? Okay, let's just resume the video. That's just
For them this season, where he made 1 shot, making his 2017 and 18 points per game average 2. The Lakers haven't even wanted him on their team, and since his contract's so big, nobody in the league has wanted to trade for him. So just like that, he went from an NBA All-Star and an elite defender to a player that no team wants, even though he's only 32 years old. And you can stem all that back to getting traded from the Chicago Bulls. You gotta imagine if he never left, things would have been much different for him and his career. Number 6, Rajon Rondo. We got a similar case here with Rondo. He started his career out with the Boston Celtics, and thanks to their newly formed Big Three, Rajon fit right in, and he quickly developed into a great NBA player. He helped them win a championship in his 2nd season, so he learned a lot from early on. Even though he could never shoot though, he became one of the league's best defensive point guards.
I think Rajon Rondo, when he got traded, is bad because Rajon Rondo cannot shoot, but he's a good passer, which made him good because he was surrounded by Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, all these guys, and then when he got traded, I don't even know what team he got traded to, but when he got traded, he probably had like no one to pass to who was a good shooter. Like Ray Allen, he was like the best shooter before Steph Curry came. Like, you know, Paul Pierce is also a great shooter, and Kevin Garnett, who's great in the paint. So I think after that trade, he just, I don't know, maybe he got older. I don't know. Just continue watching.
Was always in the talks of best point guard in the league with Chris Paul. He became a double-double machine and even became one of the best in the league at getting triple-doubles. In his best season at Boston, he averaged 13 points, 11 assists, and 5 rebounds a game. And seasons like that is what led to him becoming a 4-time All-Star. By his last season in Boston, he had racked up 22 career triple-doubles. And that seems like nothing now thanks to Russell Westbrook, but it was big at the time. But everything changed for Rondo when the Celtics were broken up and he was traded to the Dallas Mavericks. When he was there, he averaged 9, 6, and 4 before getting a few injuries and getting into some problems with Rick Carlisle.
11-6.
Since then, though, he's played for the Kings, Bulls, and the Pelicans. His season averages never took a huge drop, but he hasn't been able to get along with his
That's why he's going on the Pelicans,
or find a
because of
new
Anthony
team
Davis.
and have an impact on it like he did
In the
back in
playoffs.
Boston. Whether he was only
Playoff
so
finals.
good because he was playing with 3 future Hall of Famers is up for debate. He's putting in work right now for the Pelicans in the playoffs, but it's still safe to say that Rajon Rondo just hasn't been the player that he once was. Number 5. Shawn Kemp. Kemp started his career in Seattle, and alongside Gary Payton, that's where he became a star. Thanks to his great overall skill set, his freakish athleticism, and popular plays like this.
Destroyed that guy.
He averaged about 16 and 10 through his 8 seasons there, and with the help of Payton, the two led the Supersonics to a 64-win season that ended up leading to them playing Jordan and the Bulls in the 96 finals, losing of course. But in that finals, Shawn averaged 23 and 10. He was one of the greatest dunkers in the league, and has been one of the greatest to ever wear a Supersonics uniform.
Wasn't he on Seattle
But
for, like,
that all
most of
ended
his
in the
career?
97 offseason, when he was split up with Gary Payton and traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now for the next 2 years after the trade, Shawn Kemp actually had his 2 best scoring seasons with 20 points a game. And he even averaged 26 and 13 in the 98 playoffs. So where did things go wrong that ruined his career? Well, even though he
Maybe
had
he
the
got
stats, since joining the Cavs, he didn't have his competitive drive anymore, and he battled extreme weight problems. It got so bad that in the 98 and 99 season, there was a lockout, and when things resumed, Kemp showed up to training camp weighing 315 pounds, because he said he wasn't expecting the season to start back up. The man weighed 230 when he was in Seattle, but
Maybe
he
that's
eventually
why.
get traded to the Blazers and then the Magic, and struggle with a drug and alcohol problem,
He looked
and
like
the
he
weight
dunked
problem
a
would
lot and
stay
was
around
very
for the rest of his
athletic.
career.
It's probably
He
when he
never
got
had
older,
any of
he
these
couldn't dunk
problems
anymore.
until he left Seattle.
Well, he
No
can dunk,
official
but
word on
not
if
as
him
good as he
leaving the
did.
team is what actually caused these things to start, but either way, since that trade to Cleveland, he was never the same player for the rest of his career. Number 4. Lance Stevenson and Roy Hibbert. I had
Two
to include
players.
both in number 4 because they played together on the same team at the same time. But Lance did leave his team as a free agent instead of a trade. But
Jeez.
either way, him leaving did ruin the path that it looked like his career was going, so I thought I'd include it too. But Lance would have a slow
Lance
start in
Stevenson
his
is still
NBA
pretty good.
career. But eventually, while being teamed up
I didn't
and
think Roy
developing
Hibbert's
with Roy
playing
Hibbert
well.
and Paul George, the three of them would grow as players, and as a team, they'd become real contenders in the East, even getting the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference at one point. During the season they did that, Lance Stevenson averaged 13, 7, and 4, recorded a league-high 5 triple-doubles, finished second for the Most Improved award, show up big in the playoffs, and a lot of people thought that he was snubbed for a spot on the All-Star team that year. But after that season, he was an unrestricted free agent. The Pacers offered him a 5-year, $44 million contract, but Lance thought he was worth more, so he decided to test the market. And he ended up getting a 3-year, $27 million contract from the Hornets, which is a worse deal than Indiana offered him, so who knows. But in Charlotte, he'd be a bench player for most of the season, and he just was instantly not the same player. He only averaged 8, 4, and 3, and then go on to play for the Clippers, Grizzlies, Pelicans, and the Timberwolves, for a total of 87 games since 2015, before finally doing the right thing and returning to the Pacers in 2017. In his first run there, he was getting better every year and looked like he was on his way to an all-star level. But ever since leaving teams, Lance has just never been the same player. And as for Roy Hibbert, I'm still convinced a Monstar came and took all of his skill. The man was a 2-time All-Star that averaged 12, 8, and 2 in his best regular season, and 17, 10, and 2 in the playoffs. Like I said about earlier, himself, Lance, and PG-13 led Indiana to the first seed in the East, and looked like
Lance
they were going to
Stevenson
be the
reminds me
team
of
to
when he
stop
blew,
LeBron James in the Miami
LeBron
Heat,
James in the ear.
especially with Hibbert's presence inside. That never happened, and hints of Hibbert's skill disappearing started in the 2014 postseason, where he was an all-star in the regular season, but would have 4 games where he didn't score a single point in the playoffs. So the next year he was traded to the Lakers, and he's just never been the same player since then. His only year there, he averaged 5 points and 5 rebounds a game, and then 5 and 3 for the Hornets, before playing 6 games for the Nuggets, and then getting released in 2017. And he hasn't been in the NBA since then. Roy was a solid player in Indiana, but just like Lance Stevenson, ever since leaving there, his talent just vanished, and he was never the same player. Number 3, Ty Lawson. Ty Lawson started his career with the Denver Nuggets, and he quickly became one of their top players and the leader of that team. He was getting better every single year and growing as a player. Even though he had off-court issues throughout his entire NBA run, he was still developing on the court. In his best season, he averaged 17 points and 9 assists a game, and put up 21 and 8 in the 2013 playoffs. But in 2015, when he got his 4th DUI since being on the Nuggets, he was traded to the Houston Rockets. He'd go from averaging 15 and 10 in Denver the season before, to 5 and 3 the next year in Houston. And then he'd bounce around between Indiana and the Kings for the next couple of years.
How do you just get worse by trade?
He played decent for the Kings in 2017, but left the team after the season. The man played great for the Denver Nuggets and was on the verge of being an all-star.
It kind of makes sense when you get traded and get better, like James Harden.
He got traded away to Houston, he was never the same player.
It makes no sense.
He was never able to find a team where he could play the same way.
Maybe it's the way the coach.
It's not like you can say it was because of his off-court issues, because he was dealing with those all throughout his career in Denver. Number 2, Larry Johnson. Larry was a part of the popular 90s Charlotte Hornets team that was made up of himself, Alonzo Mourning, and Muggsy Bogues. Right out of the gate, he made a huge impact on the team, putting up 19 points and 11 rebounds a game in his rookie season, winning the Rookie of the Year award. And he would go on to average around those stats for his next 5 years there, become a 2-time All-Star, and come up big for them in the playoffs. But after Larry and Mourning couldn't get along anymore, the Hornets traded away both players. So their big three got broken up, with Alonzo getting sent to the Heat and Johnson getting sent to the Knicks. In his first year there, his stats immediately dropped to 12 points and 5 rebounds a game.
Oh, they did good.
Let's trade him. He finished his career off in New York, and he never made it back to his all-star form that he had on the Hornets. He never averaged more than 15 points or 5 rebounds a game for the rest of his career. He found early success in Charlotte, but could never find the same success after the trade. And number 1,
Dwight Howard.
We all know about Dwight Howard.
On the thumbnail.
He was the number 1 overall pick, the best center in the league for years, a 4-time rebounding leader, 2-time blocks leader, a 6-time All-Star, and a 3-time
I think if you're an NBA fan, you know about Dwight Howard.
While he was in Orlando. But in 2012, he had back surgery and was traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. He joined the Lakers with only 4 weeks of training camp to get back into shape and train on his new team. He averaged 17 and 12 in LA, which still got him to the All-Star game, but he was never the same dominant player that he was just a year earlier on the Magic.
If you play with Kobe Bryant, how are you
definitely possible
good and
to
then
say this
suck
was because
after?
of his back surgery,
And you're playing
but
with
now
Kobe
5
Bryant.
years later, and he's still not the same player. I mean, maybe
And then
that
this one is
surgery
playing with
was
James
one that
Harden.
affected what he could really do on the court for the rest of his career,
And he
or
plays
it's
with
also
Paul Millsap,
possible that Dwight's just
Kemba
like
Walker,
the other
and
7
Charlotte.
guys on this list. He's been averaging 15 and 12 since leaving Orlando, which are still great numbers. But ever since that trade,
Those
and
are all
leaving
guards,
the team
too.
that drafted him, he just hasn't been the same. So from all of this, I think we've learned that if you take the risk and want to leave the team that drafted you because you're unhappy or you think you deserve more, there's always a chance that things could go wrong and you might regret your decision, because I'm sure these 7 guys do. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you next video. And he would go...
Okay, so that was the 7 trades that ruined NBA players' career. Comment down below if you disagree with any of these. I'll leave a link of this video in the description below. Thank you guys for watching. I know this is a long video, but if you're still here, I want you to comment down below something. That's what I want you to comment down below, something. To know that you actually watched till the end. So thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next video.